Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening again. So, this is coming out of the sun, and this is going to be a rather disturbing story because we already heard about some of the tragedies that have happened in, schools. And, we want a safe environment for our kids to be educated in, and now we have this. So, this is supposedly at a private school. So, the title of my video is Private 17 Years for Raping a Student. And so, out of the Sun, out of the New York Post, rather, it is entitled Private School Teacher Jailed for 17 Years for Raping a Student. And so, this is by Paul Sims, and it's originally out of the Sun. And so, a teacher at a top private school was yesterday, jailed for 17 years for raping a pupil he had groomed. Okay, so this is going to sound rather disturbing. James Husband is his name, now 68 years of age, told the 16-year-old girl, "It's okay, I've had a vasectomy." So his victim had been earmarked for a place at Cambridge University, but failed to get the grades due to the 3-year cycle of sexual abuse, a court heard. So this is the name of the person, Husband, who taught history at Christ Hospital School, West Sussex, was convicted of rape and 5 sexual assaults counts on the girl last week. So he targeted her as she was particularly vulnerable and intelligent. So Hove Crown Court heard the victim was 14 years of age when the abuse began in 1990 and was left with a life sentence of anorexia, suicidal thoughts, and self-harm. Okay, so it goes on to say in this article, it's a little interference. So I'm reading from the article. Okay. So it's just sad. I'm going to stop for a minute here until I get this glitch out of here. I don't know. I guess it's some kind of crazy ad or anything. Okay. So what makes this sad is that people trust these schools, and you think if you're paying more money that your kid is going to go to a school that is designed to educate them and is going to be more trustworthy, and it is neither. So let's go on to see how this article pans out. Okay, let's get back on track. He targeted her, okay? He targeted her as she was particularly vulnerable. And so it goes on to say, in an impact statement, she said, "The grooming process was devious and malignant. By making me feel special for the first time in my life, I became dependent on him for my own feeling of self-worth." So he manipulated her, basically. So the court heard that she went to school at Chaplain Gary Doby about and this is chaplain of the school, Gary Doby, about the abuse. And he also had sexually assaulted her. So this makes it even worse because there are more parties involved than just the one teacher. So Doby is 67, and he was convicted last week of abusing 8 children as young as 12 years of age, and he will be sentenced at a later date. So Judge Christine Henson told Husband she viewed you as a father figure, thus rendering the abuse of trust particularly acute. Defending Charlotte Newell told the court, so the shame will live with him emotionally and socially for life. So police said the victim showed real courage to report husband and Dobie's abuse in 2016. So husband of Wigginton North Yorks was placed on sex offenders registry for life. It brings to five the number of the number of Christ Hospital school teachers convicted of sexual abuse. So this is really disturbing because it's not only a, you know, it was looked at as a top private school, but by it having the religious background that it does, and I'm sure that other parents who had their kids attend this school now are wondering if their kids were abused or they have not been saying anything. And how long has the school been, in operation with all of this having gone on? And I'm sure this young lady was not the only one. As it's stated, there were other kids involved. So it's really a sad situation because now you have to wonder, how many kids were abused. So it brings up that point. But Peter Webb and Peter Burr were jailed last year for offenses between the 1960s and 1980s. So it's pretty much validating what I just said. So Ajaz Karim is due to be sentenced next month. So this is not just really, I was anticipating this to just be one teacher, but from what I just read in this short article, there were more parties involved. And so I just wanted to say that, when you suspect things like this and that it turns out to be true, there are usually other teachers that are covering for other teachers. It not just the sexual abuse allegations, which turned out to be true in this case, but let's say a school, or let's say if there's other problems going on at that school. Most likely, if it turns out to be true and that person has been working there for years, there are other teachers that have witnessed it and just hadn't said anything for whatever the reason, or they've been allowed to get away with it. And so I've said this even about schools where you have teachers who are, exhibiting racial bias towards students or towards other staff that they feel can't get them fired. And they use a lot of tactics of manipulation. So in this case, it's sexual abuse. And so a lot of this raises a lot of questions. So what are your thoughts and your feedback on this? This is really disturbing because it's not only the fact that, to uncover that there are more than one instructor involved in this, but this school is supposed to be a top school. It's highly prestigious. And I'm sure, when you say private school, people are putting money and private money invested into the school. What other kids or students have been affected by this? And judging from the years of abuse, we don't even know the numbers really of kids that might have went through this and became victims of this and just didn't say anything. Like this girl, she said she started being abused as early as 14 and it began in the 1990s. Now, what year is it now? We're in 2018. So how many other children had went through this same institution and had been victimized? That is the questions that are raised. Will those people come forward? So this is a pretty sad situation and pretty disturbing. And it also raises questions as to what other schools have also had similar incidences such as this. So your thought, feedback, comments, like, subscribe, and thanks for listening. And here's the article title at the top here. Private school teacher jailed for 17 years for raping a student. Is 17 years enough or should there be more? He did get lifelong sentenced to the sexual offender registry. What do you think? Thanks for listening.